Welcome to this yoga and mobility workout. We are going to begin with a warm-up. We'll perform 6 exercises, 40 seconds on, 10 seconds off, starting with a standing wave. So come onto your mat standing, keep your feet up hip width apart, and let's get rolling. Hands behind your head, and simply bring your chin to your chest and keep on rounding forward all the way down, and then roll back up, starting with the neck. So looking up and feeling how that flexes the spine, and the movement takes us back into a standing position. Tip here, use your glance. So look at your chest, then look at your belly button, then look at your hips for rounding forward. And then look up into the sky for rounding back up. Next exercise, standing sideways. Either stay where you are or just turn around 180 degrees so that you are facing to the side of your mat. And we'll start by rolling our upper body onto one side, and then continuing that circle all the way down, and then all the way up through the other side. And then once you make it back up, simply lean to the other side and then roll all the way down, and then round back up through the other side. Try to keep your hips still as you move, initiating the movement from your core and feeling how the shoulder blades stretch. Moving on to the screwdriver, stay still in your standing position, tuck your pelvis under slightly so that your core is active, and roll one arm outwards as you lean towards that arm, and you roll the other arm inwards. Look towards the direction that you're going to for intensifying the stretch. Imagine that you are going to hand someone a platter of anything, and lean, reach towards one side, rolling one shoulder inwards and then the other shoulder outwards. Then change, lean towards the other side, leaning that same arm outwards and the other inwards. Next exercise, hip articular rotations. For this one, please grab a hold of a chair or a wall or anything that might help you with balance if you feel like you're wobbling. We are going to try and keep our hips still, keep the core active as we draw a gigantic circle with the knee. First bringing the knee all the way up into the chest, out to the side, and then back, and then all the way down and reverse. The knee goes back to the side, up to the chest, and then down. Keep your glute active and your hamstrings squeeze for facilitating this movement of your hip bone. Moving on to the other side. Shake the leg that you just worked a little bit and get ready. Drawing a gigantic circle with the knee, either standing in the middle of the room or using a wall or a chair for supporting with balance. Activate your core, flex your glutes, flex your hamstrings, and begin drawing that circle into the chest, up to the side, all the way back, and then down. Then knee goes back to the side, up to the chest, and down. It should be hard in case you can't tell. And moving on to the last exercise, which will be 90-90 drops. Sit down onto your mat. Place your feet slightly wider than hip width apart, and simply let your knees fall onto one side and then fall onto the other side as you move your torso towards the same side that you're leaning into. The farther away the feet are from the hips, the harder it will be. And you can always place your hands beside you on the floor for helping with balance. Just be mindful not to lean backwards too much so that you can't feel a stretch or any sort of intensity within your hip bone. And that's our warm-up done. Now moving on to circuit number 1, 50 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And this is going to be all about the spine, and we will begin with a kneeling wave. So come onto hands and knees, tabletop position, and then bring your butt to your heels. Starting from that child's pose, round your spine, keep your belly button under, and roll all the way forward past your wrists. And then once you've made it all the way forward, untug your belly, butt out, and flex your spine, look all the way upwards. Then we reverse. Chin to chest, round the spine, and then push the floor away to move back to your heels. And keep on, rounding forwards and rounding backwards as it feels good. Next, up dog to down dog. So starting from an up dog position, make sure that you're pushing the floor away, that your shoulder blades are active. So imagine that you are trying to squeeze a pencil in between your shoulder blades when you are in up dog. Look up, the butt is active, and then push the floor away, activate your core, and move back to a down dog. You can obviously flex the knees in your down dog if that's more accessible. You can also use blocks to elevate yourself and make the movement a little bit easier. Make sure that you are using your eyes where you look, you go. So make sure that you're looking upwards towards the sky when you're in up dog, and then to your thighs when you are moving on to down dog. Next exercise, we are ready for trying out the full wave. So starting from that kneeling position with our butt on our heels, we will begin to first shift your hips all the way up to a down dog and then roll forward slowly. To roll forward, keep your belly button really tucked in, push the floor away and round, 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 and then look up when you have moved all the way past your wrists. Then look down to your chest and roll backwards. So we are constantly using our eyes for facilitating the round forwards or the round backwards. Don't worry that much about how it looks like, worry more about how it feels like, and think of your spine from head to tailbone, so from the crown of your head to your butt. Last exercise about spine mobility, it's going to be reverse waves. So this time around, we will begin from an up dog position and then focus on the rounding backwards. This is different from what we just did. We focus on the rounding forwards. Now we are going to focus on the rounding backwards. And for this, we are going to move from a kneeling position to an up dog and then round backwards by first looking to the collarbone, then looking to the hip bone, and then looking to the thighs as we move on to down dog. Then once you're in down dog, simply let your knees drop to the ground, heel to butt, and then roll forward, flex the spine, look up, down dog, and then look to the chest and all the way back to a down dog position. And that's our spine warmed up. Now moving on to circuit number 2, a little bit of conditioning. We will again perform 4 exercises, 50 seconds on, 10 seconds off, starting with a 3-way knee to chest. So from a down dog position, you can place your hands and your feet in down dog. Extend one leg upwards and then bring the knee to the opposite elbow first, then the knee to your nose. Try and touch your nose to the knee, and then bring the leg back, and as it comes forward, we bring the knee to the same elbow onto the side. So it's first knee up, then knee to the opposite elbow, then knee up, then knee to the nose, and then knee up, and the knee comes all the way out onto the same elbow. Keep your core active, keep pushing the floor away throughout the movement, and really squeeze your belly button as if you were trying to, put on some pants that are really tight. Moving on to the other side, shake it off a little bit, and then place your hands on the floor, go onto down dog, and let's roll. Leg up, and then knee to opposite elbow, leg up, knee to nose, leg up, and knee to the same elbow onto the side. And repeat, leg up, knee to the opposite elbow, leg up, knee to nose, and then leg up, knee to the same elbow onto the side. It doesn't matter if the leg that is moving it stays bent or if it goes all the way up to a straight position when you go into down dog. Simply focus on moving the knee, keeping your core active, your glute is squeezed, and keep pushing the floor away with your hands to keep your shoulder blades active in your next phase. Take it off, and we move on to down dog to low lunge. If you have blocks, I suggest you grab a hold of them because this one's gonna burn. So go on to down dog with your legs as straight as possible, and then pick one foot up and step forward onto low lunge. The higher your hands are, hence the blocks, the easier it would be. The lower your hands are until you come all the way down onto the floor, the harder it will be. Just keep alternating legs and think of bringing your leg up and back as if you were trying to, just put it into your hip bone. Imagine that your hip bone is like a hip socket and you're trying to just, put something in there. That's your leg. So leg up and back, and then you just move it forward, lunge, and then push the floor or the blocks away to move it back to down dog. That's it done. Now stay in your low lunge for the next exercise, which will be our final conditioning exercise. Triangle to low lunge. So from a lunge position, push the floor away and send your hips all the way up and back as you straighten the front leg, and try to kick the crown of your head with your toes. If you can see in the video, I'm really kicking my toes all the way up towards the ceiling. Now, you can obviously use blocks for this as well, and it's going to make it more accessible. The higher your hands are, the easier it will be. Change directions for me here. So change the leg and low lunge. Then straighten the front leg, send your hips all the way up and back. Kick the toes of your front leg to the crown of your head. And that's the conditioning done. Now take a breath and get ready because we are going to prepare for flowing non-stop. Now, for this flow, we will put together all of the exercises that we have just performed. So we start from a kneeling position, your butt onto your heels. And first, let's round forward, kneeling wave, all the way to up dog. From up dog, reverse the wave back to down dog. Then send one leg up, knee to opposite elbow, then send the leg up and back again to down dog, then knee to nose, and step the front leg down, lunge. You can add a back bend there if you want to. Then shift your hips up and back, triangle, come back all the way down to lunge, and then step backwards to down dog. Knees to the floor, butt to heels, and then we do it again on the other side. Kneeling way forward, up dog, then chin to chest, round backwards to down dog, send the leg up, knee to opposite elbow, send the leg up, knee to nose, send the leg to the front, low lunge, at the back bend if you want to, and then hands onto the floor or blocks, toes up to the ceiling, hips up and back, and then back to lunge, back to down dog, and back to kneeling. As you saw in the video, you can also do this with blocks to make it more accessible. Now time to flow non-stop. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you just flow it for 3 minutes. Do what feels good. Don't worry about what it looks like, and enjoy. And you are done. You made it. Congratulations. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you feel good. Just take a minute, lie down in child's pose or any pose that you feel recharges you, and take a breath. We are going to cool down with a couple exercises that we will hold for 50 seconds and then we'll rest 10 seconds to change exercises. Starting with puppy pose. So from a tabletop position, shoot your hips backwards and think of bringing your chest to the floor, looking forward. You might need to adjust the distance. Feel free to adjust as much as you need. And you don't have to go all the way down. Just focus on the feeling of bringing your chest down towards the floor. Feel as though your shoulder blades rolled toward the sides. Imagine that your heart is melting. Imagine that someone is placing a hot stone right in between your shoulder blades. And let that stone relax you. Slowly push the floor away for coming out from puppy pose and come on to a tabletop position. Bring one arm down toward the side, keeping your hips still and rolling towards that side. Now the opposite arm, the one that is above your head, explore with what you want to do. You might want to send it all the way up and above yourself, or you might want to roll it and place the hand onto your opposite hip for intensifying the shoulder stretch. Whatever you do, think of sending your torso towards the hand that is on the floor as you send the shoulder that is up in the air towards the back. Place the hand that is back or above you onto the floor, push the floor away, come to tabletop and get ready for changing sides. Other hand up and down, shooting towards the opposite side of the room. Now, the hand that is free can go up above you, or it can roll backwards and grab a hold of the opposite thigh. Again, explore. Maybe you need a more intense shoulder stretch and you go for the thigh, or maybe you need a more intense side body stretch and you keep your arm up so that you can shoot your torso towards the side of the room as you shoot the shoulder that is up in the air towards the back of the room. And comes back onto the floor, push the floor away, come to diamond, and this time come all the way back for a seat. In a seated position, place your feet in front of you, letting your knees flop open onto the sides, and just fold forward. The farther away your feet are from your hips, the harder it will be, and vice versa. You can always place a block or a pillow underneath your forehead for helping you relax and come into yourself. Focus on your breath. Focus on the sensations that you can feel in your hips, maybe your lower back. And slowly come back up and roll backwards all the way down to a lying position. Grab a hold of your feet and push your feet down towards the floor as you keep your lumbar spine, so your lower back, pressing towards the mat. Feel how this movement elongates your entire spine. Feel how it releases your hips, and explore again. You might want to rock your feet from one side to the other. You might want to make very subtle circles with your lower back. And whenever you're ready, let your feet drop onto the floor, spread onto the sides. Let your hands drop onto the sides as well. And just relax here in your Shavasana for as long as it feels good. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you soon.